Well, first off, thank you all for clicking on this video. Hope you enjoy what you're about to see. If you looked at the thumbnail and that's why you clicked on it, or even the title, we're going to be talking about a buck that was very, I would say, a mystery. Never knew what he was going to do. And through that, we're going to talk about two encounters that I had with this deer. And both of the encounters, the deer was within 60 yards of me, and I just couldn't make it happen. But this is the story of the clubfoot buck. Now, if you look back on my channel when it was Southern Pursuit, this is when this all took place, right around 2020, 2021, was when all this was happening. So you can go back and actually watch the full hunt, but we're just gonna kind of do a breakdown tonight of what went into this hunt, why the deer did what he did, what ended up happening. So just to take you back, this was a new piece of public that I had just started learning. It was my first year to ever hunt it. Put some cameras up there in the summertime, had some really good deer on camera, but never had this particular deer on camera. He was never around, but when the rut came around, I found a quote unquote rut funnel, or a bluff gap as a lot of people call them. And this was my first time hunting bluff gaps. I just thought, hey, it really narrows down their travel. This will be a great place. I didn't think about how the thermals were affected, how they may have been affected by the rocks in the area and the temperature, or even just how the scent gets sucked down through a bluff gap in different ways than just regular terrain. So y'all see how that was a mistake of mine in this whole deal. But before we go any further, I'm gonna show y'all this first hunt and what this buck did and how it shook me up, and just what an amazing opportunity that slipped right through my hands. curious what my thermals are doing. The sun hasn't hit this slope yet. It's a west-facing slope. So I'm just curious. I'm gonna throw some of my old redneck stuff out. Just see where they're going. See, that's saying it's going behind me, but that was not the case when she was here. These winds just swirl in the mountains. Just swirl. And that's why these deer are big out here. They know how to work the land, really. Man, that was painful to watch, wasn't it? It kind of hurt me making this video and reliving that, experiencing that trauma again, right? That's what the generation today says. But it was a great learning point. I learned that, hey, my wind's not always going to be true when hunting the mountains, especially up against a wall that y'all saw. That doe was coming right at me, coming right down the trail perfect. Probably should have climbed off the trail a little bit more, but you know, you live and you learn. She was going to walk right under my tree. I didn't know that's what she would end up doing. But what was really neat about this deer is I thought that was the only bluff gap in this area. I thought that was the only way for these deer to get up and over. Well, I sat there a little bit longer and the deer never came back. And about a week later, I checked one of my cell cameras on a whole nother side of this piece of public. And you know who's on that camera on that day, on December 30th? Clubfoot buck. He's standing there. Made his round, made a huge round, and he was covering a lot of ground that day. But after that, I never saw him again. I never saw him hunting. I never got another picture of him. He was just gone. For another whole season, he was gone. So from December 30th of 2020, all the way through 2021, I never got a picture of this deer. Never even saw him. But on January 18th, 2022, it was a snowy day, it was a cold day. It's probably some of the lowest temperatures Alabama had seen that year. A deer showed up, and it was a clubfoot buck. He didn't have a clubfoot anymore, but his rack gave himself away. So after he showed up in January of 2022, I knew he was still around. He wasn't dead like I thought. I actually had another deer that I was hunting, got shot about 2 miles away. Just a big old mule deer looking thing, just a freak of a buck. And he was actually using the bluff gap very frequently. Just through a little window, about a 2-week period was when he would show up, and that's a whole nother story we're not gonna get into today. But with that deer showing up on January 18th of 2022, I knew I needed to put some more cameras out and try to really locate this buck. Try to narrow down where he is, maybe even get him during bow season. Because this is all I was doing, I was bow hunting this deer. And so I put cameras out and still no sign of him, nothing at all. But there were still bucks using that bluff gap. So bow season of 2023, I decided to go in there on October 18th. Now, leaves were still on the tree, but I knew the deer were using this and that I had a good shot at shooting a decent buck that I had on camera. Not the clubfoot buck, but just a decent buck. And so, with this hunt right here, you'll see, I went in to hunt a deer in the bluff gap, and it got kind of crazy. Okay, we are getting geared up. I did not bring enough clothes to wear. That'll, I guess, have to be okay. But we're getting all of our stuff together. Walk in there, it's like 5:18 right now, so sunrise is gonna be about 6:30ish. So I'm gonna try to get in there pretty early to where these deer have no idea we're in there. I think I'm gonna put these other pants on just to be safe, to have multiple layers and not freeze to death. So I'm gonna throw these pants on real quick. There's acorns dropping. When I came in here, the guys that I guess that were on my camera put a bunch of cat eyes out. Everything's still real quiet and calm. There was
was not a good tree in here to climb, so I got up in this one, and I'm not too happy with it. We're gonna try and make it work. I'm gonna get off this camera and be listening. I keep hearing deer walking down in this bottom. So this is the same area I was in when I saw that big clubfoot buck 2 or so years ago. He was a good one. Watched him breed a doe. Just my wind bounced off these rocks and that doe was out of here. He was dead to rights if she would have just kept walking. There's a deer right there. He just bedded down. So I was sitting there and I thought I heard something. I just looked up and caught movement. And then the way this hill runs, I was just able to see him stand there up against the bluff and bed down. I'm shaking like a leaf right now. I don't know if this is the big saber deer or not. I'm going home. Thought I was gonna be here all day. Now I'm going home. Let's see what my wind's doing now. Cause that dude had no clue I was here. First morning in Alabama. If it ain't good, and that's the second time he's done that to me. Makes me so mad. Well, that about worked perfect. That joker came in and bedded right there at 50 yards, and I watched him for an hour. And there was another spike that was with him. And there was another 8-point, but that 8-point ended up going down in this hollow. But he was better right there. I could see half his body. And I looked at him, and he was just looking around, and all of a sudden he blew and tore out of here. So that's a smart deer. That's the deer, the clubfoot buck. I'm pretty positive. He's been elusive to cameras this year and last year. But that was him. That wasn't the big G3 buck. So, yeah, that's frustrating. But I don't think I was in the ideal tree anyways. So we can kind of do a better job. I'm going to give this place some time to rest because he blew 2-3 times and then got out of here. But we're going to pack up and we're going to head to the house. So, curiosity got the best of me. And I got to come look at this bed because I want to know what he saw in that tree. That either he saw and got up, or smelled and got up. And that's a big old white oak right there. He was laying right in here. I think he was right over there. This is wild. Yeah. There's some hair right there. See, he was laying right here. Yeah, a bunch of hair in there. So, he probably came in from right over here. Came and set up right here. His head was laying here. And he was sitting just like this. Where's my tree? I think that's my tree right there. His head's so low, you wouldn't think he could see through any of that.
Well, if you've stayed around this long for the video, one, I appreciate it. Really appreciate you watching this far along. But just a couple takeaways real quick from this story of this deer. Even though I didn't kill the deer, I learned a lot from him. I learned a lot to move forward on, ways to hunt these areas and ways to not hunt these areas. And that's pretty much what I learned, is to hunt where you can, when you can. Hunt the wind. Sometimes it's not always right. And really, most importantly, even if you don't have a deer on camera, that doesn't mean he's not there. So, hope y'all took something away from this, and thank you for watching.